Really moved by what Aaron had to share. At the end of the message, Aaron said, Kenny, come forward. Those who wish to seek God further on this or receive prayer from the pastoral team, please come up. So I said, that's me. Definitely knew it was me, and I wanted to go forward. So I did. I came up the front. I sat in the presence of God. And I don't know about you, but when God speaks to me, I get like not butterflies, but like a full-blown eagle sitting in my belly. And I want to work that out with God. So I'm on my knees, and as I'm praying, I start crying. And if you know me at all and you've come up for free yourself, I become a little bit of a bawling mess with eyeliner and all sorts coming down my face. Oh, that's okay, because God doesn't care. Because what God and I are sharing at that time is personal, and it's intimate, and it's how he speaks to me. So I'm crying, and a member of the pastoral team came up and prayed for me. And she said to me, Marcia, I have a word. This is a word. Be still and know that I am God. I believe God's saying that to you. And I thought, okay. Not that he hasn't said that to me before. But we know that there is timings and seasons in the world, in the way God speaks to us. I took that away and thought, okay, God, what do you want to say to me about this? And during that week, I had a normal week, busy week. I put that word away in my head, as we all do. And I said, God, just talk to me a little bit about what this means for me. What do you want to say? At the end of that week, Cam and I were going up to a friend's batch in Russell. And when you're travelling on State Highway 1 and you're going towards Wellsford, you kind of go up this hill, and then it kind of bridges along. And it's like a one straight road, and then there's a left turn which goes into Wellsford. And so Cam and I having a great time, no kids, very quiet car, and we're just talking away. And the sun, it's about 8:30, the sun's rising, it's a blue sky, beautiful Saturday morning in New Zealand, and it's like all farmland and, moisture and dew on the grass. If you can picture this in your mind. Cam and I are talking, and then my eyes fix on this big brown horse behind a white picket fence. So this big brown horse and white picket fence, and we're driving towards it, just a straight line. And I'm thinking, is that horse going to move? Like in my head, I'm not talking. Is the horse going to move? Nope. It's a statue. It's a statue of a horse. I'm thinking, it's not doing anything. If you could chuck up the picture of the statue of the horse for me. And there we go. So it's standing there. And I'm noticing in my head, oh, it's regal. Ooh, it's a statue, it's a horse, it's a statue, it's a horse, Is it Superman, is it not? That's what I'm thinking when I'm looking at the horse. And we start to turn, and then the horse does this one flick of its tail, and it's a horse. And so, at that time I realised, be still. And you know how it just was a big flood of information. And it's like God said this to me, Mars, see that horse? And I'm going, yes. And he says, it's doing exactly what it's meant to do. Okay. It can run here, it can run there during the day. It can eat this, it can eat that. But right now, it's doing exactly what it's meant to do. It's standing and it's being still. And I'm thinking, So we carried on. And then what God started to say to me about this was this. I know my master's voice. The horse knows his master's voice. If his master came up to the paddock and said, yeah, boy, no, not that God says it like that to us, we would go. If he said, come this way, we would go that way. Then the horse stands still because the horse knows it's cared for, it's loved, it's content, and that horse is safe. So this morning, I'm going to talk a little bit more about Psalm 48. I'm going to talk a little bit more about what it means to be still and what it means to know God. We've heard this 1,000 times. So just open your hearts, guys, and let God speak to you a little bit about this. I'm just going to call up my friend Jazzy, who's here this morning. Jazz is going to come up, and I'm going to read out Psalm 46. And Jazz is going to reenact Psalm 46. If you're familiar with this kind of communication, what I'd like you to note is the expressions that Jazz is about to come up. Please come up, Jazz. Jazz is a little bit shy, so you might have to smile at her a little bit as she comes up. Thanks so much, Jazz. Great. Well, Jazz is about to tell us in Jazz's own words what Psalm 46 looks like in action. Are we ready, Jazz? Okay. God is our refuge and strength, a very present help in trouble. Therefore we will not fear, though the earth should change, and though the mountains slip into the heart of the sea, though its waters roar and foam, though the mountains quake and its swelling pride, there is a river whose streams make glad the city of God, the holy places of the Most High. God is in the midst of her. She will not be moved. God will help her when morning dawns. The nations made an uproar. The kingdoms tottered. He raised his voice. The earth melted. The Lord of hosts is with us. The God of Jacob is our stronghold. Come, behold the works of the Lord, who has wrought desolations in the earth. He makes wars to cease to the end of the earth. He breaks the bow. He cuts the spear in two. He burns the chariots with fire. Take note of this. Cease striving. Know that I am God. I will be exalted among the nations. I will be exalted in the earth. The Lord of hosts is with us. The God of Jacob is our stronghold. I'm about to read verse 10 in 3 different translations, just verse 10, just so we can get this message today, church. The Living Bible says this: stand silent, know that I am God. The New International Version says this: be still and know that I am God. The Message says it a little differently. Step out of the traffic. Take a long, loving look at me, your high God, above politics, above everything. Thank you so much, Jazz. You really showed us what the word looks like. Thank you. She did a good job. What we can hear, and that Jazz illustrated really well for us, is what it means to be still. A lot of the times we are so distracted by what the world can offer. And what we can see by reading that particular psalm, there's a lot going on in Israel at the time this was written. We don't know who the author was. It could be Isaiah. There's speculation about that a little bit. But when you have a read of it and when you see what it's saying, it could illustrate really well what our world looks like today. We've got all kinds of things going on in our world today. Just read the news, read the headlines. It feels sometimes like the mountains are falling into the sea, like we're in the midst of a battle, especially in our own personal life. This message is relevant for us today. Why is it relevant for us today? Because often we feel like we're in a fight. We feel like there's a 6-foot wave coming towards us and we're going to be sunk. We feel a lot like Israel did at the time. They faced a lot of battles. They faced a lot of enemies on each side, and they still do today. And where are they going to look? Where is their help going to come from? Are they going to be like the horse? Are we going to be like the horse? Are we going to be ready? Are we going to stand? Let's look at what the word be still says. Be still comes from a Hebrew word, rapha. Interestingly enough, this word broke me apart a little bit during the week, because rapha can mean so many things. But rapha in this context means this. It means to stand, to be still. Sometimes it means shut up. Sometimes it means go to sleep. Sometimes it means rest. It means relax. Sometimes it means let go, surrender. So let's talk a little bit more about Rapha. Rapha also comes from the Hebrew root meaning Rofi, which is from the cure, to heal. So then when you hear Rapha, God, Rapha, you'll know this one. But knowing that God has placed this word in this particular passage, in this word, it means both things. Because if we are to stop, if we are to shut up, if we are to let go, if we are to go to sleep, we're going to get a little bit of rest before we're about to do a battle, aren't we? Or perhaps God is going to do it for us, like he did many times for the Hebrews. If we're going to be still, we're actually going to be able to hear his voice. Because if we're not, we're doing a lot of this and a lot of this. If we're doing that, how are we to know God when we're doing it and he's not? So when he says this as a command to us, cease striving, what do we do? What's the opposite of cease striving? Let go. Come. He says to us, come, sit, stand, be still. Know me. Because when we let go, when we stop talking, when we stop trying to achieve something that he's going to achieve for us, what do? We look at him and we see him and we know him because he's the one whose strength is in us. He's the one who says, I am your God in time of trouble. I am your God. Know me in this, because the only way we're going to know him is if we're in relationship with him. Because we're going to look to him and say, you do this, God? You can do this? Oh, yeah, I can. Because I just said, be still sometimes. Be still maybe. Cease striving whenever. God didn't say that, did he? He said, cease striving. Know that I am God. I am your God. I'm the God that's going to throw that mountain that you see into the ocean. I'm the God that's going to deliver you, because that's who I am. Come, know me. God is inviting us into relationship with him today, church. He's inviting you, no matter what you face, no matter what you think you cannot get through, he can. Because he wants us to know him in this. That's my message to you today. I hope that you can take something away from that. I've actually got something I'm about to play, which is S.M. Lockridge. S.M. Lockridge poses a question to us today. He says this, do you know him? That's my king. When I read this psalm, when I thought about this psalm and I thought about some of the key messages, can you pull up the next one, please? Some of the key messages that I wanted to tell you today. I thought about S.M. Lockridge because he poses a question back to us. We're commanded in Psalm 46 to cease striving when we feel overwhelmed, because by doing this we will come to know our God intimately. We can experience God as a refuge and strength in times of trouble. S.M. Lockridge says to us, do you know him? When I listened to this after doing my study in this particular passage, that question challenged me, because the beauty of what he says and what he's about to share with us is the question, do we know him? Because if we know God, then we know how to be still. Then we know how to cease striving, because we know him. We are in a relationship with him today, church. We are growing in this relationship. I encourage you today, if you're facing these things, if you're facing a battle, and we all do, I encourage you to be still. Hear his voice. Let him lead you through this time in your life. When you come and take the emblems, and if our service could come up now, when you come and take the emblems this morning, there's a lot of illustration that's about to take place. There's a lot of questions. Where S.M. Lockridge says, do you know him? Look at, do you know him? But also look at this. God is God because of all the things he does. You can start it now. Please come forward and take the emblems. Think about the question.